Hello everyone, welcome to my art channel where we do painting tutorials. Today I thought I'd do some watercolor bookmarks since I haven't really used watercolors in a crazy amount of time. So I start by adding a tiny drop of water into each color in my tin. That way they can activate and get creamy and vibrant and saturated. And while they do that, I tape down my paper and divide it into 3 equal sections. I'm using washi tape because I could not find my regular masking tape because everything I have is in boxes because I'm moving. So I start by applying a thin layer of water to my first painting, cover it all, and then I apply some quinacridone rolls to the bottom and bring it up almost midway up the page. Then I surround it with some phthalo green, and what this does is when those two specific colors mix, they give a very nice lavender tone, and I thought it would look lovely for the idea I had in mind for this. I top up that bookmark with some Payne's Gray, and I get some more quinacridone rose and randomly apply it over my phthalo green in that middle section. Then I bring down whatever excess color I have on my paintbrush onto the bottom, onto the pink in these horizontal-like brush strokes, and I leave that to dry. Then I apply water to my second painting, and I apply cerulean blue to the bottom half. And for the top, I'm just going to use some phthalo blue. You can obviously use any colors. These are just some of my personal favorites, and that is why I chose them. For the last one, I start by applying some permanent blue violet, which is just a very pretty violet shade. And some of that phthalo blue I use for the wind turbine painting, and then I bring it down, I dilute it down with just some water from my jar. For this one, we want the bottom to be very light because we're going to be layering some mountains and they need to be visible, so it needs to be bright. I quickly dry everything up with my hair dryer because I'm in a bit of a hurry. Feel free to leave it to air dry for 15 to 20 minutes alternatively. Then I take some white gouache, I dilute it with water, and I splatter it over all of the backgrounds with a stiff brush. Instead of a brush, I'm actually using an eraser pencil because the nylon bristles are very hard, so I get very nice splatters. You can obviously substitute with a dedicated toothbrush you use for painting or a hard bristle brush you would use for oils or acrylics. Just watercolor brushes tend to be a bit on the softer side and you get very big droplets of paint instead of tiny splatters. That's why I used my pencil erasers. With the excess gouache I have, I paint a little crescent moon on my left painting. I tap it with my napkin, that way the inside becomes like a little gradient. Then I take some more of my violet, I dilute it with very little water, and I paint my first mountain up about 2/3 of the page. If there are any splatters that have gotten in that area, I just scribble my brush around them and make them dissolve into the watercolor paint because gouache is water soluble as opposed to acrylics, which are permanent. Once you lay them down, you can't reactivate them and blend them in. While that dries, I go back to my first painting and I do some random foliage with some Payne's Gray on the bottom and on the top right corner, so it looks like it's framing that crescent moon. For the middle one, I'm just going to do some straight lines and then 3 lines popping out of those for some wind turbines. If drawing is not your thing, there are traceables to all 3 of these bookmarks and many other tutorials over at my Patreon page, Sunshine Arts, and by doing so, you also help support me and the channel. And like always, all of the supplies used will be linked down in the description box below this video. For the next mountain, I also add a bit of indigo to my mix, that way it's going to darken it up, and the lower we go, the darker the mountains will get. So I paint that mountain, I dilute it down with water into the white of the paper, dry it up, I add a bit more indigo to the mix, and then I paint another mountain on top of that. and then again I dilute with water and repeat the process. I do recommend you dilute it with water as you go down, because if you only apply paint, then the next layers won't really be as visible. It's all going to blend into each other and you won't get those nice crisp layers. So yeah, I just keep adding a bit more indigo each time, paint the mountain, and then I dissolve it. I dry up my final layer and then I proceed to take off the tape. I like to give a very special thank you to my Patreons for the month of November, and thank you all for watching. If you found any value in this video, please let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'm currently trying to reach 20,000 subscribers, and it would really mean a lot to me. We'll see each other in the next video. Bye bye!